I want to thank everyone for coming tonight for our presentation titled Evolutions. Tonight we're going to take a look at some of the challenges the modern firefighter has to overcome and how they have changed throughout our history. So first, a quick introduction. My name is Firefighter Timothy Stevens, and this is my co-host for the evening, Lieutenant Brian Jesse. Uh-oh.
Frozen on one slide. Let's try this.
And
There we go.
oh, there we go. Okay. We are both current active members of the Auburn Fire Department. I'm currently serving as a member of Truck Company on D Platoon. And this June, I will have concluded 17 years of service with the department. I'm married. My wife is here. I have 3 adult children and now a grandfather. And in March of 2021, my son Jonathan, who is also here, was hired with the department, and he is on C Platoon, Engine 4.
Ryan. Hi, everybody. I'm Brian Jesse. I'm a lieutenant with the Auburn Fire Department. I got hired back in August of 2006. I was promoted to the rank of lieutenant in 2015. I met my lovely wife, who is a part-time Cuyahoga County 911 dispatcher, in 2011-ish. We got married in 2017, and we have a dog, Ember, the quintessential Dalmatian, and then Guinness is the little brown one. So I work on C Platoon Truck Company across the floor from Jack's son, John. Something happened. I don't know if everybody's been in the news today. Unfortunately, the Binghamton Fire Department suffered a line of duty death last night at a structure fire. So we didn't plan on having these 2 slides in the show. We weren't really going to touch on it, but I feel that with everything that's happened, we should. Line of duty deaths are any firefighter that dies while operating or working. Happens for career and volunteer. You can see these numbers, 2017, 18, 19, 20, and so on. We average about 100 deaths a year. 2021 was a bad year at 141. This year, we are currently at 10. This gentleman, John J.R. Gaudette, passed away this last night. In honor, we'd like to take a moment of silence, and something in the fire service we do is we ring a bell 5 times when somebody has passed and is no longer with us. So we're going to ring a bell 5 times here, and then we'll continue on with the original presentation. All right, thank you. Our thoughts and prayers and condolences go to the Binghamton Fire Department along with Firefighter Gaudette and all his family. Take it away, Tim.
Okay, so tonight we'll have a brief lecture and I hope to answer some questions after. So without further ado, we shall begin. So we'll start with the beginnings, with a brief history of the fire service. This will add a nice outlook on how far we have progressed to modern day firefighting. The first recorded attempts to control the ravages of fire took place about 300 BC in Rome, where firefighting duties and night watch services were delegated to a band of slaves supervised by committees of citizens. During the reign of Augustus Caesar, Rome developed what might be considered the first municipal-type fire department by organizing these slaves and citizens into a corps of men known as and forgive me, but my Latin isn't very good, or Italian, the vigiles, right? Sound right, Brian?
Vigiles sounds good.
Vigiles, okay. Firefighting in Europe and later in colonial American communities, property owners were required to keep 2 buckets on hand. And when church bells rang to report a fire, people formed lines to pass water from wells or springs to the fire. Night fire watches were instituted in the larger cities of America, In Boston, these volunteers were called the Rattle Watch because of large rattles used to sound alarms. As a result of a disastrous fire in Boston in 1631, the first fire ordinance in America was adopted. It prohibited thatched roofs and wooden chimneys. So, yeah, they had chimneys made out of wood. Well, didn't quite work out so well. Another large fire in Boston in 1679 led to the organization of the first paid fire department in North America, if not the world. Today, there are more than 27,000 fire departments in the United States, with approximately 19,000 being all volunteer. Of those 27,000 plus fire departments, less than 500 are designated with a prestigious ISO Class 1 rating. The City of Auburn Fire Department is one of those departments.
To explain what the ISO rating is, it's an insurance rating, mostly in the commercial side, and it goes from 1 all the way up to, I believe, 11. And depending on how low that number is, depends on what the insurance rates or the fire insurance portion of your property or commercial business would be. So ISO being the absolute best you can be is what Auburn obtained back in 2017.
Expanding role of the fire service through the years. In the early 19th century, the role of the fire service was predominantly limited to extinguishing flames and protecting property. Equipped with rudimentary tools, firefighters faced significant challenges in combating blazes that threatened their communities. The establishment of organized fire brigades marked a pivotal transition, leading to the creation of more structured approaches to fire response. As urbanization progressed, the fire service evolved, integrating new technologies such as steam-powered engines and later motorized fire trucks.
So here, this is the Auburn Fire Department's first steam engine that we ever had, hauled by 3 horses. That engine was actually housed directly across the street on Market Street in the original Hardenberg property, technically. The city purchased it from Hardenberg. It was a barn, and they ended up housing the steam engine in. The lower photo here is the first motorized firefighting apparatus that we obtained, which was a 1925. Came all the way from Boston-ish area when we received it.
Is that the one that is in
No.
currently?
No.
That is not. Okay, let's see. So continuing on, the introduction of fire codes and building regulations further underscored the necessity for prevention, transforming firefighters into educators who champion safety measures to mitigate risks.
This is the one that Tim just mentioned. This fire truck right here, Auburn Fire Department number 2, was on Owasco Street, right at the corner of Owasco and would be Mill Street or Miller Street. That vehicle, when it went out of service, was at the Senate Museum on Grand Ave at the bend right by Turnpike. And then it went on a trip that we don't know where, but somebody reached out to us last year, and it is currently in Holland, the country of Holland. It is working, driving, and pumping, and in pristine shape. The owner has played with the idea of us possibly getting it back. So we'll see. We might be looking for donations to pay to ship this thing back across the ocean.
By the late 20th century, the fire service expanded its mandate, encompassing emergency medical response and hazardous materials management. Firefighters began to receive advanced training in medical procedures, becoming first responders in crises beyond fire. Today, the fire service operates as a multifaceted entity, engaging in community outreach, disaster preparedness, and mental health support. Modern firefighters have vast responsibilities that require years of training and certifications. Emergency medical services, specialty rescues such as confined space, hazmat, water rescue, automobile extrication, high-angle rope rescue, swift water, and fire prevention all fall under the umbrella of the fire department. This evolution reflects a profound understanding of the complexities of modern emergencies illustrating the fire service's commitment to protecting lives and enhancing community resilience in an ever-changing world. Simply put, if it's a bad guy, call the cops. For everything else, you call us.
Even McGruff agrees.
I was there that day. It was fun. Okay, we'll move on to tactics and trainings. From
Oh, hang on, real quick. I got to point this out because I think this is kind of neat. So, picture on your left is of the old station on Market Street. Class that was going on, whether it was public or all the firemen sitting there learning some sort of firematic stuff. On the right-hand side is a photo that was taken last year. Our department is very lucky. We have a whole bunch of instructors that travel all over the state and share their knowledge. There's a container, like a shipping container, and it has a fire in the top portion up here, and then the floor. And everybody gets in turnout gear and sits down here, and we learn about fire behavior, how fire reacts to adding oxygen, taking oxygen away, opening a window, opening a door, things like that. And guys actually sit in there, and it gets pretty warm. It won't let warmer than it is in here. And a little bit, not much. And get to that fire end up rolling across the ceiling above our heads. And we learn when it's too hot, when to get out, what causes the fire to get worse, what can we do to make the fire better. And this training is invaluable today because of some other stuff that we're going to talk about as we go on in the presentation. But I just wanted to point it out because it's the only time I put the picture in. So go ahead.
Yeah.
in the early days of municipal fire services, traditional methods dominated firefighting strategies. Brave firefighters equipped primarily with bucket brigades and primitive hose lines relied on sheer physical strength and bravery. Training was minimal, often limited to learning how to wield tools and follow orders in urgent situations. However, again, as urbanization progressed, so too did the tactics employed by the fire service. The advent of modern technologies such as aerial ladders, thermal imaging cameras, and advanced water supply systems revolutionized firefighting strategies. Training programs evolved, incorporating not only practical skills, but also the science of fire behavior, hazard assessment, and safety protocols. Today, fire service training emphasizes a comprehensive approach, integrating physical conditions, psychological preparedness, and community education. Drills replicate real-world scenarios, fostering adaptability and teamwork among firefighters. Additionally, specialized units focus on specialty rescues, hazardous material response, and wildland firefighting, reflecting the diversity of challenges faced. This evolution epitomizes the fire service's commitment to safeguarding communities. By embracing innovation and continuous improvement, firefighters honor their noble tradition while effectively meeting the complexities of contemporary emergencies. Through changing tactics and rigorous training, they stand ready to confront the flames of tomorrow. So,
Go back.
go ahead.
So here's, we can even go back here. High rises, or what we call buildings that need high-rise hoses that are just really long to be easier to describe. So West Middle School apartments. Who went to West Middle School? Or West High, let me rephrase it. Who went to West High? Okay, this picture right here is taken in the stairwell of West High. If there's a fire there, we practice. We hook up hoses to the standpipes. This is the same at Boyle Center, Stryker Homes, Standard, Swartz Towers, any place like that. We practice hooking up our hoses, and then we go and stretch them down the hall, open a door, go in that room, and that's where the fire would be. So we practice that throughout the city in different buildings, so we have a good idea distance-wise where the amount of hose that we bring will reach us, and if we need more. We have a fire inspector group that goes around inspecting sprinkler systems throughout the city, does all our restaurants, our high hazards, our gas stations, our public places of assembly. All those places get inspected at least once every couple of years to make sure that they're safe for the public to be in. Whether it's exit signs, making sure the exit sign light's on, the emergency exit or emergency lights turn on when the power goes out, your sprinkler system has been inspected and is ready to go, things like that. Then we have our hazmat team, which is actually, we supplement for the county. So we are a county hazmat team that pretty much is encompassing all the members of the Auburn Fire Department. The big truck that you guys saw when you came out here, a lot of our hazmat equipment is on that vehicle. That's our rescue. So we do annual training once every month for our hazmat team. Over here, we have some rope rescue training. This is firefighter Tom Swartz, if anybody knows the Swartz family. He's hanging upside down from the parking garage where we were practicing rappelling to be able to go down and rescue somebody. We supplement the county's high angle rescue team if they need assistance or more manpower. We're able to send that large rescue truck out, and it has rope rescue equipment on it, and we can go and help somebody who's stuck down in a ravine, whether it be at, the falls or the gully or anywhere. Anywhere in Cuca County.
We did just do a low angle rescue last year where someone was down, and there's a high angle rescue and then there's a low angle rescue, which is basically, you know, we had a person that was down in the outlet. So it went from kind of a swift water rescue and transitioned into a low angle rescue. So we did that, I believe that was either last year or the year before. But so it's another specialty that, again, goes in the evolution of the fire service and, you know, having to train.
How training has evolved.
Yeah.
In the bottom corner here, it's tough to see. This firefighter here has taken his air pack off. He's still breathing off the air, but he's crawling through a box that's roughly 2 foot by 2 foot, maybe 26 inches by 26 inches. But they have to go through there, avoiding the wires that are hanging, and it practices self-rescue. So if something happened in a fire, the ceiling collapsed, the floor collapsed, something, we practice yearly on getting out of bad situations with zero visibility, having to take our only air supply off and continue moving through some sort of obstacle and then put it back on to be able to make our way out. Over here, we've just got some ladder work. Ice rescue, that's Hoops Park. There's way less water in it right now. It's all dirt, but we do provide ice rescue. There's the ponds, pools, the old quarry that's on the north end of the city. There is a lot of water in that. People go out on it. So we do have a full ice rescue complement on the rescue truck that's out there. And then classroom. We have a state-of-the-art classroom. I don't know who came to the Cuga Museum speech that we did, presentation, but we have a classroom and there is always stuff going on in there of some sort. Guys are in there doing EMT classes, regular weekly trainings. This is a hazmat class on some of the new equipment and the new hazmat suits that we had. So we're always moving, always doing something and progressing and evolving with whatever the hazards are that present to us.
And the final photograph over here is over on Quarry Road. It's a training tower, training facility that we utilize quite a bit. The county also utilizes that, and it has a burn room in it. So it's 4 stories high. We've done rappelling off of that, as well as you know, everything from firefighter escapes to you know, rescues. We utilize that building quite a bit. All right, we're moving on. Apparatus from hand power to drone power. Or horses to drone power. In the early 18th century, firefighting relied on hand-pumped engines, often necessitating large teams of horses to transport heavy equipment. The first true fire engine, established in 1672 by Joseph Sykes, utilized a manual pumping mechanism that required significant physical labor. As urban centers burgeoned, the demand for more efficient firefighting solutions became apparent. By the mid-19th century, steam-powered fire engines revolutionized the industry. These machines, capable of drawing water from nearby sources, improved response times and enhanced extinguishing capabilities. Horse-drawn carriages became standardized, symbolizing an era of burgeoning infrastructure and escalating fire hazards. The early 20th century marked the advent of motorized fire engines, enabling faster deployments and greater maneuverability. These vehicles, equipped with aerial ladders and advanced water pumps, significantly improved urban firefighting strategies.
This is the fire truck of today. This is a fire truck that is diesel powered. It has scene lighting. It's connected to the internet. The touch of a button, we can pull up pre-plans. It has medical equipment on it. It has water rescue equipment on it, extra hoses, large diameter discharges. It can flow up to 2,000 gallons per minute in the proper situations. These are what we have today. And then they're even bigger beyond that with rescue trucks, ladder trucks that in the US average about 110 to 130 feet. And if you go overseas in Europe, they have ladder trucks that go up to over 200 feet high. No, thank you. I won't sign up for that one.
As technology evolved, so did the tools of firefighting. The introduction of drones in the 21st century signified a groundbreaking shift. Equipped with thermal imaging and real-time video, drones provided invaluable reconnaissance capabilities, allowing firefighters to assess situations from above without endangering human lives. Thus, the evolution of the fire engine from horses to drones encapsulates the relentless pursuit of innovation in safeguarding communities against the ravages of fire. Equipment, from axes to meters. Advancements in technology have significantly influenced both the design and functionality of firefighting tools over the years. Here are several key areas where technology has made a profound impact. We have materials and durability. Traditional firefighting equipment was often made from heavy metals and metals that could not withstand high temperatures or harsh environments. Modern tools utilize advanced materials like carbon fiber, high temperature resistant plastics, and lightweight alloys that not only reduce the weight of the equipment, but also enhance its durability and effectiveness in extreme conditions. Water delivery systems, fire hoses and nozzles have seen enhancements with the introduction of adjustable flow rates, automatic pressure regulation, and lightweight durable fabrics. Modern fire engines are equipped with high capability pumps and hose management systems that allow for rapid deployment and retraction of hoses, improving efficiency on the scene. Thermal image technology. The development of thermal imaging cameras, or TICs, has revolutionized firefighting operations. These devices allow firefighters to see through smoke, identify hotspots, and locate victims in low visibility conditions. This technology has improved situational awareness and decision-making during firefighting operation.
So the camera in the middle, there is one older than that. That is this camera right here. When I started, well, actually after I started, we received this camera to be able to use. It was made so that you can crawl with it. Hold it like that. We can crawl with it. Has a display screen on it. And this was rudimentary. This was to help us find victims and fire in a building. It's bulky, it's heavy, it takes up a lot of space. That was pretty much when I started. Before this was a solid metal box that we used to call the toaster. It looked exactly like a toaster, and it had a screen half the size of this one, and it looked blurry every time I used it. I don't know, but that was brand new technology back then, and it was $20,000. This one was probably around $10,000. I won't drop it. From that one, we went down to this size. So this is a smaller one, a little bit smaller screen, lighter weight. The battery's rechargeable and easy to use. It actually was light enough that we can use a tether now instead of a strap. Almost. And we went to this. Then we had a couple that were the same size as this. The technology was kind of staying the same, but the image was getting better on the screen. So we got better pixels, we got better definition, just like your TVs. And now, this is my thermal imaging camera at work. It's tiny, it's lightweight, I can put it in my pocket. The screen on it is super high definition. It changes colors with heat. with heat signatures, I can see people and smoke. It shows me people outlined better. And these are about $1,500. So the technology's gotten smaller. It's better, clearer. When we're done, we're going to invite everybody up to come see all this stuff. We'll turn these on and you can compare them and see them. But yeah, this is all I have to carry now to be able to see what's going on around me.
All right, moving on to drones and robotics. Drones are now used for aerial reconnaissance, providing real-time data and imagery of fire scenes and surrounding areas. This technology helps in assessing the situation before ground crews even arrive. In addition, robots are being deployed for dangerous scenarios such as entering burning buildings and navigating hazardous environments. PPE, or personal protective equipment. The evolution of PPE, including firefighting suits, helmets, and gloves, has incorporated advanced materials that offer better thermal protection, moisture-wicking properties, and increased mobility. Smart textiles and wearable technologies are being experimented with to monitor firefighters' health and exposure to hazardous conditions in real time. And we have a couple of different sets of turnout gear. We got a brand new set of turnout gear here that's modern, and then we have
New old.
new old stock.
It still has the tags on it. It never got used.
Tags on it, and that is from probably around 70.
Probably in the 70s. You can see this is more of just like a duck twill canvas type material, which we'll talk about. And then the other one is more a Nomex breathable. The newer turnout gear can get wet and dry faster. It is more athletic cut for those of us that are athletic, not me. And there you go. But the newer stuff we can last in a fire a little bit longer versus the old stuff was more just protection from sparks and flammable materials. The inside is like a wool interior versus the newer interiors.
Moving on to data and analytics and software. Fire departments are increasingly using data analytics and management software to improve response times and resource allocation. Geographic Information Systems, or GIS, helps in mapping high-risk areas and planning effective fire response strategies.
So computers are great, and then when they don't work, everybody is mad and our life crashes and comes to a halt. But by everything having to be part computerized, all our reports are computerized. So then all of our times for our calls, all of our data that we can gain on incidents and we put into the computer is then able to be pulled out in analytics to be able to figure out what's going on. So these two bar graphs, the first one, this is 2024, our calls by month. So how many calls we went on per month. Our busiest month was January, the month we had the storm. We did 771 calls for service. Total for the year was 8,082 calls for service. Over here is our days of the week for 2024, and our busiest day of the week was Thursdays, which I always thought it was going to be on the weekends, but it wasn't. Then part of that, you can see there's a computer sitting right down here plugged in. All of our apparatus are directly connected to the 911 center through a program on a tablet. We get all of our call information, mapping, building pre-plans, which I'll explain this, building pre-plans along with up-to-date instant comment updates or call updates for when the 911 dispatcher is talking to you on the phone and you're asking, well, have you done anything? Have you sent the fire department? There's somebody different sending the fire department at the same time normally, and they're talking to you on the phone. They're entering everything you say into the computer, and it's coming up on the screen down here for us to see the whole time. So this screen is some other software we have. The whole county, most county departments use a software called I Am Responding. That software allows us to place little logos, color-coded, yellow, green, orange, red, or blue for all the locations of fire hydrants in the area. So here we are right now. This is Emerson Park Pavilion. All these little diamond looking things are fire hydrants, and depending on the color depends on the amount of water that comes out of that fire hydrant per minute. FDC is our fire department connections. This building has a sprinkler system, and there is a FDC or a fire department connection on the outside of the building on both sides. So if the department, this is a Wasco's district, was coming here, what we would do is we can pull up this map and see, oh, we have a fire department connection here, fire department connection here, fire department connection over at the merry-go-round playhouse. We have 2 green, which is over 1,000 gallons per minute hydrants right here that we can connect into right near our FDCs. The blue water dot symbolizes where we can draft water out of the outlet. It's a place that we've gone, thrown our hard suction in, and been able to pull water out at a pretty easy spot and not block the boat launch. The lock stands for a locked gate, so we know we can't get in that way. And our H's are for helicopter landing zones. We have these already pre-planned so that when we call the helicopter in, they already know where they have to go. They already know what the GPS coordinates are of all these little H's. So we can put that. The system can also put in boat launches. It can put in road closed signs. It can put in hazardous buildings if your building is collapsing. I keep disconnecting. If your building's collapsing, we can put that in there, and that tells us when we go to that property that it's dangerous, we need to use extra caution, or maybe we won't go in if there's nobody there. If we can confirm that nobody was in. But all this is all available on these little computers that we carry in all the trucks in the city. So technology, we use technology every day, and it's on every call. We can talk directly back and forth to the 911 center. Easy. We can do a few samples after the presentation.
All right, firefighting foam and suppressants. New formulations of firefighting foam and water additives improve the efficiency in suppressing different types of fires, including flammable liquids and chemicals. These innovations focus on environmentally safe and improving the effectiveness of firefighting efforts. Training simulators. We showed a picture earlier of the hot box that we were all in.
Which is pretty much this. This one's built inside a trailer, but you would have a flashover simulator here, and everybody would be knelt down here.
Training simulators, advances in virtual reality and augmented reality have enabled more effective training for firefighters by providing realistic simulations for fire scenarios without the associated risks, allowing for better preparation. In summary, technology advancements have transformed firefighting from a predominantly manual and reactive process to a more efficient, strategic, and data-driven discipline. This evolution continues to enhance safety, effectiveness, and the overall capability of firefighting operations. Moving on to communications from bugles to tablets.
Over here on the left is our engine company 4 at the time with their bugle. And then this is a picture, not of Auburn, but of a modern cab of a fire truck where we have our tablet or our computer keyboard. They have another tablet, headsets to be able to talk in between each other, all their portable radios, all the technology that there is now.
In the early days of firefighting, communication was rudimentary yet essential. Firefighters relied upon the sharp call of bugles to relay urgent alarms. The resonant notes echoed through towns, mobilizing brave volunteers in an era when flames threatened life and property. Each signal conveyed a distinct urgency, guiding them to the heat of the inferno. As cities expanded and the need for efficient communication became paramount, teletype systems such as the Gamewell call boxes and the introduction of telephones and dispatchers transformed fire operations. Operators relayed information to firehouses, enhancing response times and coordinating among crews.
If you ever come to the station, we have a display set up on the wall. This is our Gamewell system. The way it would work, it was actually independently wired throughout the city on a DC powered system. It was battery controlled. So if power went out around the city, it didn't affect any of these boxes. You would pull this box, and by battery power and spring power, it would punch holes in this ticker tape and ring a bell a certain amount of times. You would reference the board here, and depending on how many times the bell rang, and it would be per digit, it wouldn't be 312 21 times. It would 3 times, 2 times, 1 time, and then you'd be able to reference the board and be able to say that you were going to 42 South Street right there. And that would be the chief or whoever the person in charge was would be able to tell everybody where they were headed, and that's where they would go. Later on, we ended up installing a rudimentary dispatch 911 center at Station 1. This is a early photo. You'll see another photo of the exact same desk still there. This box will be prevalent. It is from a different angle, and you'll see how this is literally just this little Gamewell box, a typewriter, and a radio, PA radio. As soon as the next photo comes up, computers have now entered the realm.
Before you move on, if you look up at the top of that photograph, it's a lighted map, and there's little toggle switches on that. That was made in 1949. We actually have that map at our station, and it is, thanks to the efforts of Lieutenant Jesse, it is fully functional. So you can walk by and flick a switch and a light will turn on, and
That's all it does. The town of Troop lights up. There you go.
so it's pretty neat that we still have that thing from 1949. In the late 20th century heralded a new age of technology. The advent of two-way radios allowed for real-time communication between firefighters and dispatch centers. Incident commanders could now issue orders with unprecedented clarity amidst the chaos of emergency scenes.
So here's that same exact desk, the same exact box, but now we have computerized dispatching. At this point, the dispatch center wasn't just for the city of Auburn. It was also dispatching the whole county as a whole. And with the radios, at the end tonight, we have 3 different radios up here through different eras, 70s, 80s-ish, 90s, and then our current radios of today. And you can see how they started very large and are now very small. So some things in the fire service are getting smaller. Fire trucks are not one of them. Or firemen.
Let's see. In the 21st century, innovation surged with the integration of tablets and advanced software. Data analytics, GPS mapping, and instant access to building schematics revolutionized operational capabilities. Firefighters equipped with touchscreens could now receive live updates and critical information at their fingertips. So we kind of touched on that a little bit with the
tablets. Command center vehicles now are very prominent in the service across the country, where they have drones that can fly up with large cameras, and you can have instant viewing from the back of a command vehicle, phone access, multiple radio access. Our vehicles, like we talked about, all our vehicles are now technologically in touch, we'll call it. They're all connected to the internet. Mechanics can log in remotely and see what's going on with the vehicle, read error codes, see what the fluid levels are, things like that. And then we have our MDTs. The bottom picture here brings us up to date with what today's Cuyahoga County 911 Center looks like. This is a picture of the 911 Center. They went from having that one TV that actually was a TV to now 8 computer screens. And each one of these, my wife could probably tell you exactly what each one does. One answers a radio, one answers a phone, one does mapping, I don't know. That's the tower camera one, I know that. And then that's the phone map, that's the radio. No, that's the radio, that's the phone. And who knows?
Right of that phone is the tower, like if there's damage to the towers or if a tower goes down.
Pretty much they monitor everything now.
That actually happened. We went to DEFCON 1 the other day when I was there. I've never seen it happen. Every single admin line in the entire county went down.
And there's 5 dispatch stations now? Well, 5 plus a supervisor, right? So there's now, instead of that one desk, there's 5 of these desks in the background. There's one back there, there's another one there, there's another here and another here. And then the supervisor sits in the middle, and then they can monitor what everybody's doing up on that screen. So technology is everywhere. When you call 911, they can pin right in on where you are, whether you're on a landline or on a cell phone. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time, but we'll find you sooner or later. The County 911 Center, I did want to add this. They answered 73,630 calls last year. They answer calls for the Sheriff's Office, the State Police, the Auburn Police, Weedsport, any police or fire or EMS agency in the county is who they're answering phone calls for. And there's normally 4 people, 3, 4, 5 people working.
Moving on, what's burning? Wooden chimneys to lithium batteries. In the evolving landscape of firefighting, the materials that ignite and burn present a stark contrast to those of decades past. Historically, common fuels included natural fibers such as cotton and wool, which, while dangerous, were relatively predictable in their combustion characteristics. Today, firefighters confront an array of synthetic materials engineered for modern living. Items like polystyrene furnishings, polyurethane foam, and chemical-laden plastics not only ignite rapidly, but also release toxic gases upon combustion. This shift poses significant challenges as these materials burn hotter and faster, leaving firefighters with increasingly limited time to respond effectively. And we got a short video here showing the...
So it'll start going through this. What this video is, I'll just explain it because it's a lot easier. This video is going to come up and there's going to be 2 exact rooms that have been built together. So the one on the left is built with what we call ordinary or legacy materials. Those materials are your hardwood furniture with cloth or fabric cushions. They are your hardwood cabinets, your cotton or wool drapes, things like that. Wool area rug. Think before 1990s on the left side. On this side, we're going to go more modern. The couches you can buy today that are made with plywood frames and nylon and polyester materials. That's what's on the right-hand side. On the bottom, you can see a time clock that's kind of going by real fast. This is how fast a fire progresses nowadays on the right versus before the 90s on the left. So we're at 3 minutes. This room is almost untenable at this point. So if there was a fire in your house, at 3 minutes and 30 seconds, look how much smoke there is today versus back in the 70s, 80s, 60s, things like that. You had a lot more time to find the fire, put it out, get out of the house than you do today. We're at almost 5 minutes now. That whole room is completely engulfed. I can tell you that if that was here and we called 911 right now, without Tim and I being here, obviously, 4.5 minutes, almost 5 minutes, a fire truck might be showing up at the front door. So that's how fast fire grows right now. We're outside the city. In the city of Auburn, along with those analytics that we did earlier, I can tell you that within the city of Auburn, from the time we are dispatched to the time we arrive to any confirmed building fire in the city of Auburn in 2024 was less than 4 minutes. So if you live in the city of Auburn, you got less than 4 minutes and we'll be at your door. And you can see they're at half an hour and the room on the left was still just barely burning.
So if you have old stuff in your house,
you're safer. Don't listen to your grandkids, you're safer.
All right, I'll move on to my script here. Formerly, strategies were rooted in familiarity. Firefighters could rely on their understanding of traditional materials. In contrast, today's firefighter must constantly adapt to the unpredictability of new compounds. Training now includes advanced materials, science to comprehend the potential hazards present in burning structures. As the landscapes of construction and consumer products continues to evolve, so too must the firefighter. LVL, or laminated veneered lumber, is comprised of recycled wood materials and glues that fail much earlier than traditional natural woods. There are lithium batteries all around us. I would assume that we all have a phone in our pocket or purse. These batteries burn very hot and are like a small bomb if ignited, not to startle anyone, but while the essence of valor and dedication remains unchanged, firefighters are now tasked with navigating a complex and dangerous environment, making their roles ever more critical in safeguarding communities.
We're almost done.
The future. The near future is upon us. Technologies exist today that are being implemented in the fire service. We have already seen the use of drones for surveillance, as well as robotics being utilized for the transporting of equipment. Remote smart nozzles, which allow for the nozzle person to have the ability to adjust pressures for more controlled attack on the fire. LED lighted fire hoses assist firefighters in finding the life-saving way out. would have been unheard of only a few short years ago. Augmented reality is being developed that allow firefighters to see through smoke and get real-time data of the layouts of buildings using heads-up displays in their face masks. Someday soon, perhaps automatic deployments of fire-suppressing aerial craft may be used to snuff out wildland fires as soon as detected by utilizing satellite tech. The innovation will be driven by both the need and the imagination of tomorrow's firefighter.
So the augmented reality part is kind of the coolest part. It combines thermal imaging with AI, this artificial intelligence, or augmented reality. So it's a camera that's mounted on the fireman's helmet with the fancy green laser beam, I think, just so you know what way you're looking. And then it drops down with a little lens and shows you this in the lens. It also can show the outline of the property and where all of your users are in relation to you or command outside. It can track where you are in the fire. There's a little video. It's pretty quick. It just kind of gives you a rough view. I wanted to explain it first so you kind of know what you're looking at. But it lets firefighters through a little glass lens see through the smoke and see outlines of things, not just a thermal image. It's just music. There's nothing to listen to. But you can see how it takes that thermal image, it finds the lines and the edges of items, and that's how it highlights what the firefighter is looking at. This is still being developed. It is not available yet.
For the record, I have reached out to this company 2 separate occasions. I've yet to hear back from them.
We're really hoping the fire chief in the back corner will approve some more money for this.
I just want a demonstration to come to us, but the company's in, I believe it's in Ontario, California. So in conclusion, firefighting, a noble and perilous profession, is steeped in rich tradition and camaraderie. From the iconic duo of Johnny Gage and Roy DeSoto in Emergency to the contemporary portrayal of firefighters in Chicago Fire, the public perception has consistently elevated these heroes to a pedestal of valor. The 24-hour news cycle, in conjunction with real-time video, gives credence to the real-life heroism in action. No one will forget the events of September 11th, 2001, where FDNY marched upward to help squelch the flames and rescue countless citizens, and more recently the efforts of California firefighters who evacuated thousands. The modern firefighter, like men and women of old, still hold to the tradition and mission of putting others first. Although the challenges have mounted and the roles have expanded for the firefighter, men and women still choose to embrace these endeavors. For some, it's the lure of adventure. For others, it's the drive to help their fellow man. Ask any firefighter, and they will tell you it's still the greatest job in the world.
It is, even if you're cleaning the bathrooms.
Hey, yeah, there you go. Thanks for putting
That's Jack. That's John. That's Tim and his son Jack, who is over there. So we are our own janitors at the Auburn Fire Department. So it's part of the job, and we love it. We have a couple other things just for fun, because I know somebody's going to ask the question. So 1902. This was filmed and directed by Edwin S. Porter of the Edison Manufacturing Company. This is what the fire department response was like if you called, dialed, there was no 911. So rang one of the Gamewell boxes or flagged somebody down. This is what you would get. You can see him hitching the horses here. All the hitches were made specially for fire service to be able to quick hitch. Those horses are ready to go. I'm not going to say it might have been sped up a little bit.
That's me playing the piano by you.
I thought you were on the back, but... So now, in comparison, this is a modern response. This is not from Chicago Fire, but it is the Chicago Fire Department and their response from a station at a high-rise fire. The beginning, the camera goes everywhere. It's real hard to find, but you can see we're just at the station. They're just cooking dinner, looks like. They got something going on, and then a call comes in, and this is exactly how it happens.
2, engine 13, truck 3, truck 6, squad 1, 2, 71, ambulance 41.
The dispatchers will tell what units have to go. We stop what we're doing and head to the trucks.
Still in a high-rise residential, 101 East Erie Street, number 1227, floor 12. Repeat, engine 98, engine 42, engine 13, truck 3, truck 6.
Our dispatchers are way harder to understand than this computer voice.
41, Deputy District 1, Battalion 1, Battalion 3, Battalion 4, 451. Still in a high-rise residential, 101 East Erie Street, number 1227, floor 12.
Not as many horses, but a lot more horsepower. And just like that, away they go. So that's a modern day response, pretty much. Same thing would happen in Auburn or any department around the country. The alarm hits, they stop what they're doing. And the volunteer side, it's even a little bit better because those people are doing whatever life has. They're not at the firehouse a lot of times. They are with families, with friends, at events, out to dinner, at work that's not a fire department. And they're leaving wherever they are, traveling to the firehouse, and then getting on the trucks and going to the calls. And with that, thank you for attending. We'll take some questions, and then we have a lot of stuff to show you up front if you want to come on up front. It is.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Something that's intrigued me over the years, where you mentioned the number of firehouses throughout the country, still, the primary ones are still rural or volunteer. If the rural population getting smaller and smaller because farms are getting bigger, how are they handling fires with when they get a call, or does the municipalities like Auburn go and assist the towns around here when there's a call?
That's exactly what's happening. I can only talk for pretty much what happens in Cuyahoga County. The question was, what are volunteers doing to supplement their numbers with rural areas becoming less and less populated? So the city of Auburn, we provide mutual aid to anyone that asks for it in Cuyahoga County. We are on automatic mutual aid for different areas. Weedsport, their downtown area, for any structure fires that they get. The village of Cuyahoga, any structure fire that they have during the daytime. We send an engine and a ladder truck out of the city to help our neighbors. That's what firemen are. We're neighborly, we're friendly, we're family. We consider everybody part of our group. So anyone or any department that needs help can request it from the city of Auburn, and we will send whatever we can at the time. Volunteers are always recruiting. They're always looking for more help. They are always looking for family members or new people moving into their districts to be able to sign up and become a fireman or firefighter, doesn't matter which. So we always encourage everybody to join and learn about our trade and our craft and become passionate about it.
And the city of Auburn is staffed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We have a minimum of 14 men and women that are able to respond anywhere. Like Lieutenant Jesse said, all they need to do is call and ask, and it's simple as queuing up a microphone as their incident commander and requesting an engine and truck from the city or whatever they need. So, and we will respond in kind. So,
Good example of that would be the fire that they had in Ovid.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
So the fire in Ovid.
Poplar Ridge, a lot of our trucks, so Wasco's truck was right at the scene pumping water. It's a 45-minute drive.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
in a rural area with a large downtown burning, they will start reaching out and asking for help from anybody that'll bring it, pretty much at that point.
And that fire was a substantial
lithium-ion
fire.
battery.
That was basically a block. So, and you know, with what, three or four stories high,
Yep.
those buildings all joined together.
And it was
they had a fire like that.
5 years ago.
Yeah, not that long ago.
This one, the one the other day was started from a lithium-ion battery. So that shows you the dangers of lithium-ion batteries,
Which we all have one in our pocket.
which
but,
everybody carries them around in their pocket.
The Ithaca just had a fire 2 days ago that started from a lithium battery that was in a one of the e-bikes, I think they call them. They're basically like a scooter that has a motor on it and a lithium battery. So, you know, the batteries are they're a real hazard if they're not conditioned properly, and most people, you know, grabbing chargers that
Don't go to them.
possibly don't, you know, you got them at the dollar store and they're not designed for this or with that, and then the battery just, you know, for whatever reason, it can torch off. So unfortunately, it's part of the modern world. There's lithium batteries everywhere.
To go along with the batteries, what about the electric cars and what type of training do you have for those type of batteries?
So electric vehicle fires. So we do have a piece of equipment on truck one, which is a newer piece of equipment for us, which allows us to basically it's not going to stop the fire, obviously, but it allows us to disengage the plug to turn the vehicle off. As far as the lithium fires go, with a vehicle fire, we had someone come in from the state last year, I think it was, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. And they showed us some videos of these cells. Basically, there's the undercarriage of these cars. There's so many cells, maybe 100 of them, and they're linked together, wired in series. And one starts to go, the next one next to it starts to go, and it's just a continuous chain of, you know, chemical fire.
Thermal runaway is what they call it.
Yeah.
They're all pretty much like AA battery size, even your big cars, and it's just that many more AA batteries, and as they burn, it's a thermal runaway, and it causes the next one to go into thermal runaway, and so on and so forth, and they explode, and
Copious amounts of water.
copious amounts of water. They can actually burn
That means
underwater.
a lot of water, Jack. Copious.
Yes, copious.
A lot of water.
Other
Keep it going.
questions? Yes,
Protect the exposures.
You know, we see all these commercials on TV. If you have drafts in your house, have the foam put in, is that exceptionally flammable?
most of your spray foams are not super flammable. They actually have a fire retardant mixed into them. It's different than like your couch cushion flammable kind of thing. So spray foaming your house is good. It will burn still, but it just burns slower. Next.
We used to use Dawn dishwashing detergent in our foam ring.
Yep. So the question was about foam, firefighting foam. Aqueous film forming foam, AFFF is what they call it, and at its basis, it's breaking down the surface tension of the water and allowing the water to seep in and get in deeper to put the fire out and absorb more heat faster. Dawn dish soap does the same thing, pretty much, on a little different level. Not to the chemical part, but we can't put Dawn dish soap in our fire trucks. We have to use the other stuff.
But we do utilize Dawn dish soap in a hazmat response.
Yep.
It actually Dawn dish soap for whatever reason is just it's
If it can clean a duck, it can clean me.
it's tried and true. So
Yes,
yeah.
dear.
So on that map that you showed with Emerson Park, what are the orange and the yellow?
Orange and yellow, the map that we had up there of Emerson Park, the different color signifies how much water comes out of each fire hydrant. So at the county level, they create a map and they water test all the hydrants, like the town of Wasco will test theirs, Fleming, Aurelius, the city of Auburn. We have flow rates for all the hydrants, and that's what color those symbols are. So we know what I know that green is 1,000, that orange is 750, and that red is 500. Like, so if it's a big fire, I want to go to a brighter color. Yes, dear.
I'm thankful for the 9 departments that responded to the fire next to my house the morning of November 15th last year.
Oh, where was that?
State Route 31 in the town of Montezuma.
Gotcha. I don't think we went for that one. Not Montezuma. I don't think we've been out to Montezuma lately.
That was last year, you said?
Yep. So that's a lot of.
The volunteer fireman pulled his pickup truck in front of the block where the hydrants. So
Well,
my husband's a fire commissioner, so he went out and told me, goes, there's another hydrant behind that pickup that you guys.
yeah, we have that problem in the city, but they're police cars. So we deal with it. We get around it. Say that again? Yeah. My boss frowns upon that, so we use words instead. Anything else? Yes, sir.
Fire hydrants actually painted a different color?
Nope. If you drive around the city of Auburn, you'll notice the caps are different color. That cap color, and I can get real detailed. The cap is one color, and then the collar of the cap is a different color. The collar of the cap, that's the first touching the fire hydrant, that part symbolizes what size the water main is, and then the color of the cap symbolizes how much water comes out. Not everybody does that. It's very expensive. I believe that happened before I got hired. There was, I'm going to assume, a grant, and they were able to pay for it. But most departments have at least gone to a quick connection. So the fire hoses that we carry on our fire trucks can just quick connect into the hydrant itself. Aurelius uses a little bit different color-coded system than we do, but we know what it is. So, but the hydrant itself normally is just yellow or red or
And
whatever.
we do carry adapters also
Yep.
in our hydrant bags. So if we have a Storts connection, if we go out to
Wherever, any
wherever,
town.
and they have, well, there is one hydrant in Auburn that actually has an old it's over off of
Red.
Garfield Street, but
Grand Ave, there's one.
there is one on Grand Ave too. But there's an adapter. So if we do go out mutual aid somewhere, we still can connect to a hydrant. So
Anything else?
adapt and overcome.
I've got an electric car now. If they're involved in an accident, let's say they're not a fire, do you open the hood and disconnect the main battery?
So the plug that Tim was talking about is actually what we use mostly on car accidents. It actually runs on 3 or 4 AA batteries. We open up your charging port, we plug that in, it makes the car think it's charging and it can't run when it's charging. Does that make sense? So it disables the ability for it to run. If it was more involved and we thought the battery was damaged, or we have to do extrication and cut somebody out of the car, there are access panels in all vehicles. We actually, on the tablets, there's programs, and a lot of the guys have them on their phones for apps that we can see where all the high voltage cables are run in your specific car. We can just type in quick the year and the model, and it'll bring up a map of the car, and it'll tell us where the firefighter disconnect is, I'll call it. And sometimes it's in the trunk, sometimes it's under your driver's seat, sometimes it's in the front, sometimes it's under the back seat. Like, they can be all over the place. They're bright orange and they have a fire helmet on them. And that tells us we can pull that, and it isolates the power just to the battery. So none of the cables in the vehicle will be charged at that point, other than the 12-volt cables, but we're not worried about those. Did that answer that question?
Very
All
well
right.
said.
I talk really fast.
That was well said.
So, and we'll answer what other questions we can while we're up here.